Hey guys, I'm Skwrrl, and this is General Chat, where I talk on a variety of topics related to the MMO genre and related genres. Today, we're talking about my personal MMO history and preferences within the genre. That way, you'll have an idea of the angle that I'm coming from in future videos. I think it's important to understand the experiences and perspective of someone that you're watching. I've been playing MMOs for 20 years now, and RuneScape was my first MMO, as in RuneScape Classic, back in 2002. I remember eventually convincing my parents to let me become a paid member so I could access the premium parts of the game. To subscribe, we mailed a $5 check to Jagex each month. RuneScape is likely responsible for introducing a ton of people around my age to the MMO genre. At the time, I don't even remember referring to the game as an MMO. We just saw it as a fun online game. It wasn't until WoW that the MMO genre really became defined within my own mind, probably from just being young and ignorant. I'm pretty sure I had no idea that Ultima Online or Meridian 59 even existed, though I do remember having a cursory knowledge of Asheron's Call and Anarchy Online, and I knew about EverQuest later on because of EverQuest 2. RuneScape was a perfect introduction to MMOs for a group of highly competitive friends like mine. We all aspired to be atop the leaderboards above Zezima, even though it was an impossible task. Somewhere down the road, a little later in 2003, I was introduced to Toontown Online, probably thanks to the commercial playing on screen right now. I ended up playing a lot of Toontown. I probably put just as many hours into Toontown as I did with RuneScape, if not more. Toontown was a legitimately great MMO, especially for a 2003 release, that deserves more praise. I'm actually planning a video about Toontown for the near future, so I won't go into too much detail here. It's obvious that it was so overlooked because of its family-friendly nature. It wasn't about looting and slaying, but it was more cooperative than most other MMOs I've played, even today. Between RuneScape and Toontown, I enjoyed a really great balance, playing both wildly different games at the same time. Then, World of Warcraft came on the scene. All of my buddies made the switch at launch. Meanwhile, I was slightly skeptical. At that same time, Lineage II came onto my radar. I remember one of my good friends and I staying up all night comparing Lineage II to World of Warcraft, trying to decide which game we were going to go with. We ended up picking Lineage II over WoW solely based on the fact that I thought Lineage II's graphics were better. At the time, I was young, and in my mind, better graphics meant a better game. We had a great time in the game, though, especially with the PvP, but the more I saw of WoW, the more I felt compelled to give it a shot. So, in early 2005, I finally gave it a go. My PC at the time really struggled with the game in crowded areas, but I managed to make it work. I got pretty good at finding my way through Ironforge while stuck on the initial frame entering the city. The frame would jump straight from the gates of Ironforge to the bank or auction house. I liked WoW a lot. I continued to play Toontown for a little while in the early days, but WoW was the primary game for the most part. The first character I made was a human mage, though I'd end up maining a gnome rogue for vanilla and early into Burning Crusade, before switching to a blood elf paladin, which is still my main character today. By the time I got rolling in Burning Crusade with my paladin, WoW had become the only MMO I was playing. I was no longer going back and forth between two games. Over the years, however, I definitely got on the hype train for a few of the so-called WoW killers. I was most interested in Age of Conan, Warhammer Online, and Heroes of Telera, which was later renamed to Rift before launch. Age of Conan presented a problem because my PC was unable to play the game smoothly, so that didn't work out. I enjoyed Warhammer Online. I actually even owned the collector's edition, but eventually a lot of my friends who were also playing the game ended up back with WoW, and I went with them. As for Rift, the hype died for me before the game even launched, but I'm actually playing Rift right now in 2021, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot. Along the way, none of the big releases really ever took me away from WoW. Like many others, I tried them out, but WoW was always calling me home. There were plenty of good, sometimes even great games, but I never spent more than a few months milling about in them. Some of the notable ones would be EverQuest 2, Guild Wars, City of Heroes, Lord of the Rings Online, Dungeons and Dragons Online, and MapleStory. And then within the last decade, those titles would be Guild Wars 2, The Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XIV, Black Desert Online, Star Wars The Old Republic, and ArcAge. But now I'm in a weird spot. I really enjoyed my time in WoW's Warlords of Draenor and Legion expansions, but Battle for Azeroth and now Shadowlands have not captured me. The most fun I've had in WoW over the last year and a half was in WoW Classic. Like everyone else, I'm sort of biding my time, looking over the buffet table and hoping to become enraptured by a new MMO sometime soon. So, what about my blind spots in the genre? Well, pretty much everything in the pre-RuneScape era, so 2001 and earlier, is a blind spot for me. I've dabbled around in EverQuest a bit, but all of the other games from before 2001, I've only ever seen videos of. I never played them myself. In the post-RuneScape era, so after 2001, my biggest blind spots would probably include Star Wars Galaxies, really sad about that one actually, Vanguard Saga of Heroes, Ion, RuneScape 3, EVE Online, WildStar, and Terra. I've either never played those games or I played them so little, EVE, that I might as well have never played them at all. Okay, well, what about some of my preferred features in MMOs? Well, let's get this out of the way right now. I'm an old school tab target kind of guy. I don't hate action combat, and I would never write a game off completely because of it, but I usually prefer tab target combat. I like both theme park and sandbox style games for different reasons. I like an accessible crafting system that takes effort but isn't overly complicated. I can take or leave player housing. It's a nice extra, but I wouldn't want it taking important development time away from other parts of a game. I think I prefer a traditional class system, but I'm more open to that than I was a few years ago, especially after playing Rift recently. I like a big open world, but I'm also down for some instanced content, specifically group content. I don't really need a great storyline in my MMO. I prefer vertical character progression, but it can be done well or terribly both ways. I like quests, but I can deal with alternate systems. PvP is a nice bonus, but it's not totally necessary for me. I dislike transmog. That might also be kind of controversial, especially before level cap. I like minigames. I love chat bubbles. And finally, as you can probably tell, I'm primarily interested in Western developed MMOs, which has been a tough interest to have for about the past decade. But I've enjoyed my time in a few Eastern developed MMOs like Lineage II, as I mentioned before, and Arcade as well. The desire for a good Western developed MMO launch is strong. We really haven't had one since The Elder Scrolls Online in 2014, almost 7 years ago now, so it's been a while. At the end of the day, though, none of my preferences are make or break for me. I'm willing to give any MMO a try for the most part. And I feel like if it's done really well, maybe it'll change my mind on some things. As for the future, the main MMOs I'm looking forward to right now in early 2021 are, in descending order, Ashes of Creation, Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, New World, and Titan Reach. Yep, all Western developed, I know. I'm sure you'll see plenty of videos from me discussing these games in the near future. The future of all 4 of these games are so wildly up in the air, but each one intrigues me in completely different ways. So, that's that. Now you should have a really clear picture of the kind of MMO player that I am. Hopefully that helps you going forward with the channel to understand my perspective and where I'm coming from. Thanks for watching, everyone, and let me know your MMO history and your preferences in the comments below. I'm curious because everyone has so many different opinions and thoughts on the genre, and I want to know what you guys like most. If you're looking forward to the content, feel free to subscribe to the channel to get notified when new videos come out. I also stream regularly on Twitch at twitch.tv/Skwrrl, that's SKWRRL. We play MMOs, MMO Lights, survival games, GeoGuessr, 3D platformers, and some other variety mixed in there. There's a link below in the description, and I'd love to see more of you over at the Nut House soon. Take care and have a great day.